Afternoon, YouTube. This is a walkthrough video of what I did to replace the fuel pump on my 94 GMC Sierra 1500 half-ton 5.7 liter. Wasn't too bad. Had a couple of small problems, but I've done projects that were worse. There's another guy out here on YouTube that's got a video on how to do this on a long bed. This truck is a short bed that I have. I used his measurements to get a rough idea on how to find the pump and not hit it. The bolts in my bed are rusted, so I can't get them off to take my box off, and I'm certainly not going to drop the tank. It's got a little over half a tank in it, so it did run prior, but it was stuttering, surging, had no power when you'd step on the gas or put it in gear. It idled fine, but wouldn't go. Now, his video, he said he made his access panel a little too big. And his plans were he was going to tack weld his back in place and then rhino line the bed. I have one of those plastic bed liners that was in here that I took out to do this. As you can see, I don't have it in here right now. So, it's just the bare bed. What I did was drilled a couple holes in the corners. You can see that with the light. There you go. And then took my, I call it air saw, some people call it a buzz saw, you know, whatever. They're not too expensive. I think I paid about $100 for that, but I use that at work. It's my personal tool for work. I brought home and used it here. Buzzed through the bed real easy, had a fresh blade on it, buzzed right through it. You can see it made some nice clean cuts. And as it would have it, my measurements I did are going to make this easy for me to make this a removable panel, since I have the plastic liner. And I guess if you don't have the plastic liner, you could do it too. Is this cross member here. This is one side of it. There's another half back here, I believe. Yep, there is. And there's spot welds that actually hold the bed down to the rails. And what I'm going to do now is head over to the hardware store and pick up some nice self-tapping beefy screws that I can screw through the bed rail, the bed box, sorry, down into the rail here, and do it that way, and maybe hit it with a little bit of black paint so that the rough unfinished edges do not rust and rust out my bed. The measurements I took for this were basically off of his, but if you want to get kind of close to what I got going here, I don't know if you can see that. I'm about 18 and a quarter on the back side here. And I'm about 2 inches from the front side there. Now, this is all working off the bulkhead between the cab and the bed. And if you're measuring off the side of your bed, let's see here. We should be roughly 20, pretty sunny day today, 28-ish, you know, yeah, just call it 28. And if I was going to do this again for somebody else, a buddy or whatever, I'd go 28 and 11. Nice round numbers are always easy. But like I said, I have a cross member up there and a cross member here. So that makes it a bit easier to put it back together. I did have to go out and buy some of this stuff here. Blaster. It's basically just PB Blaster, but it seemed like it was a little bit stronger strength, I thought, maybe, so I grabbed it. And I would suggest before you start, once you get this open up, is spray the living shit out of these fittings here. And I even sprayed around the pump here. And it all came apart. Well, the pump came apart pretty easy. These here I actually stripped out. God help the next person that has to change this pump, because they're going to have to use a pair of vice grips like I did. Talking with the guys at O'Reilly's, they actually sell a kit to replace these fittings here. So if you bust them, they rust or whatever, you can actually cut these off and put new ones on. I don't know how much line that gives you, but they said there is a kit out there to fix that. Don't hold me to that, because I didn't need them, luckily. But these were my nightmares, were these two fittings here for your supply and return. A friend of mine, a friend of the family, had taught me years ago when he was doing fuel pumps and stuff. This is my first fuel pump on my own. To put a little Vaseline on the rubber O-ring that goes between the pump and the tank, or grease. Just makes it easier for it to slide. It won't pinch, crimp up, or bind up and tear up your seal. I know the fella in the other video said his ground wire, which is way back, I don't know if you guys can see that, way back here, this guy right here, his was tucked back under his bed, back this way on his long bed. Well, my short bed, it's up here, so it wasn't too bad. It was pretty easy to get off. The only other problem I had, and I wasn't too sure if it was me or what, was getting the fuel back up to the motor. I would suggest turn the key on, don't start it, and let it sit for about 3 to 5 seconds. Shut the key off, do it again. Do that a couple of times, and it primes it up. And I forgot to do that. I knew better, but I just forgot. I think the 4th or 5th time I actually tried to start it, when it actually hit me that it needed to be primed, the truck actually started up on its own just fine. But it took about 4 or 5 really long cranks to get it to pull the fuel from here up there. This truck has 215,000 miles. For some of those out there that think this is a pedal pumping thing, and it's not, that are into that stuff, hitting the throttle while trying to crank this truck doesn't do anything. It's throttle body injected, and the injectors do nothing if the motor isn't running or turning over. So don't waste your time pumping the pedal in like that. That's just kind of foolish, silly, and a waste. Believe it or not, I bought this truck off a buddy that I work with for a couple $100, and I do mean a couple $100 cash, and I've got $200 into the pump right now, the sending unit and the pump, and a fuel filter, which I'll do later. I'm not going to do that today. It's a little warm today, and I don't have a driveway. All I have is a yard, so when I go to my second job, we're at a car dealership where I work, I'll put it up on a hoist and plop out the filter real fast. Hopefully that won't be a nightmare. Yeah, I guess hopefully this helps somebody. If you look up the other fella, and I'll try to put it in the description for you guys to help you if you have a long bed Chevy or GMC truck, because I believe his measurements are more to the long bed. And like I said, he felt he could have made his opening smaller. I work on RVs for a living, so my thing is I just assume make it as easy as possible, and I can always make it look good again later. And I usually do on an RV. In this case, like I said, I'm going to screw it down, put my plastic liner back in, and the hell with the rest. It'll be fine. If all else fails, I mean, I still do have a really nice new pickup. It's only a couple years old, but this is I'm trying to baby that girl there, make her last as long as I can. It's only got 28,000 miles. I bought it new. It's a couple years old now, but I got a camper I pull with it. So this is what I got for you guys. I hope it helps somebody. Thanks for watching.